for those who need to refresh their memories, PATH is an acronym for Pursuing with Alumni Targets with Hope. These PATH sessions are an incredible opportunity for us students to interact with our very own Bethany alumni across the globe, who have valuable experiences and insight that they're eager to share with us. That being said, on behalf of the current Bethany family, I proudly welcome our alumni speakers, Dr. Keshini Saggar and Dr. Lakshmi Arya Tatachar, back to their alma mater. Thank you for taking time to share your thoughts and insights with us this morning. We are thrilled to meet you and are keen to gain perspective from you today. One thing that I know unites both us alumni and us current Bethanites is singing our school song. Our Bethany school song, Onward Ever Onward, is imbued with great dignity and respect. So kindly rise and join us as we sing our school song.
Onward, ever onward, pressing on each day, true to our school motto, trust and obey, seeking God's own guidance in all we do and say, faithful to our calling, trusting God each day. Let us then march boldly onward, with the colors shining bright, courage high and looking forward, trusting God and doing the right. Courage high and looking forward, trusting God and doing the right. For guiding by the truth we stand, united in our strength, keeping our school honor, steadfast to the end, making new beginnings, wise in every way, cheerful in our conduct, no matter come what may. Let us then march boldly onward, with the colors shining bright, courage high and looking forward, trusting God and doing the right. Courage high and looking forward, trusting God and doing the right.
Inspired by her formative years at Bethany, Keshini pursued a career in dentistry, driven by her passion for serving individuals with care and kindness. Her innate desire to effect change on a larger scale led her to pursue an MBA, where she honed her leadership skills and strategic mindset, earning 3 gold medals for her academic excellence, born out of sheer curiosity for the field. Keshini proceeded to work as a market researcher and assistant marketing manager for renowned brands such as Star Sports and Asia. These experiences deepened her human psychology and behavior comprehension, effectively utilizing her digital technology expertise. Determined to make a difference in public health, Keshini served as the Director of Community Health at Rotary International in 2021 before embarking on a journey of further education. Pursuing a Master of Public Health from Harvard University, she deepened her understanding of addressing healthcare challenges and promoting overall well-being, emphasizing the critical need for supporting mental health. Today, Keshini serves as a consultant for digital health organizations in the US, empowering them to communicate their value with profound impact and transforming countless lives. Additionally, she advocates for mental well-being, dedicating her time to writing about paving a path to wellness through understanding anxiety on her website, Mind Pastures. In reflecting on her transformative journey at Bethany and beyond, Keshini has realized the truth that God has a unique plan for each of us, far surpassing our own aspirations. This understanding has guided her path, shaped her values, and fueled her commitment to making a significant difference in the world. As much as I read out this introduction to Keshini, she's much more than that. I haven't met someone as humble and down to earth and just affectionate and kind and caring as her. I just want to make a small note that while Keshini comes up and answers some of the questions that you had for her, also take the time to note down if you have any more questions that come up for you, and if we have the time, we will take those questions later. Thank you. Keshini, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Anita. That was such a kind and sweet introduction. Really appreciate that. I'm just honored to be here and honored to be called to share with you my experiences, shaped in the form of any answers that you would have questions for. Thank you for sending in a lot of those questions. I think I'm really happy to see that you're forward-looking, all of you. That's what it shows in the way you formed your questions. And I would just welcome you to ask any additional questions that you would have based on time availability. And I think we could just get started.
Sure. We've put together the questions that all of you sent out through the Google Forms, and it's going to come up on the screen. I'll read out the questions and Keshini will answer them. Is that okay? Yes. Keshini, the first question for you is, how did you decide which field your interests lay in and further pursue that?
Thank you. So, as you can see, my journey or the path that I've taken academically and professionally has not been a straight road. And that's because early in my life I was given the advice that you have to keep striving till you find joy in what you do. So when I first did dentistry and I really enjoyed that, I found that there was a gap in providing care. Where we were solving an issue but not really trying to see a way to prevent it to begin with. And that's when I went on to seeing that what can I do to not only treat one patient at a time but go beyond. Let's talk about awareness. And that's why I did an MBA to identify more avenues to amplify the voice that I had and the information that I had with me. But then I moved on to an P.A.T.H, a Master's in Public Health, when I realized that I need to understand how things work in the public health space to create that impact. So in short, I would say that the advice given to me was very sound, and I pass the same on to you as to not stop looking till you've actually found something that gives you joy, and something that can stop you is sticking to a line that you've taken up just because you've taken it up. You can always compound all the skills that you learn and you build your toolbox. And I realized that's what I was able to do as I did different programs and I worked in different spaces, and that sort of opened up my mind to different possibilities of amalgamating these experiences to provide an offering that can create greater impact. And I also would just say that don't have a herd mentality. That's exactly what helped me, not having that herd mentality. Right after my dentistry, everybody went into doing a master's in dental. And while they were preparing for entrance exams for that, I was preparing for entrance exam for MBA, and people would just wonder what's up with her. Like, why is she doing this? But I had a few professors who said, maybe this is a smart move, maybe because they've been in the field for a long time. And so I just say it's okay to think differently, and I think you should think differently. And that's how I was able to just find fields that I had interest in.
Thanks, Keshini. The next question for you is, how do I manage studying and participating in extracurricular activities?
Thank you for that question. I can give examples from what I have experienced and also what I saw my peers do back. Let's say my recent experience was at Harvard. So this is something that people did with their calendar every single morning or the night before. They just take their Google Calendar and they put time blocks on it. They wouldn't say that I'm going to do some, and they wouldn't write down the regular to-do. Or they would write the to-do list to do things that are their daily requirements, but to go beyond and finish anything that has a deadline, they would have blocks of time on their calendar, and I learned from that. What that does is it gives you space to see where can you put time in other things and where you need your time block for the work that you have to do. So how do you manage time? how do you manage to study and participate? Well, you do your tasks and you do them every single day consistently. And what I mean by that is you take one step to get closer to that mountain of work that you have, but you do that every single day. What that does is that frees up your mind to do the things that you would love to do, to go and enjoy, even with your friends. You need that break. But also explore other, talents that you would have by taking part in extracurricular activities. And that's what I did, even in school. And I think beyond my example, in the school itself right now, you have amazing examples around you. I'm just baffled by how students are able to really manage, excelling and being all-rounders. So I guess Bethany just provides you that amazing example itself.
Thanks, Keshini, and I think that was a really important one for students here at Bethany. So, since we know that so many of them are so passionate about doing extracurricular activities, but are sometimes anxious about how to manage their academics with that. Thanks for that answer. Next question. Is it really as daunting as it seems to apply to universities abroad? What are the requirements for ICSE students?
Thank you. So when it comes to applying to universities abroad, why we feel it's daunting is because we don't know what it would require you to do. I was speaking to Robert sir some time ago, and he mentioned about the different avenues that you have available at Bethany now. One of them was Next Genius, and many other who come and guide you and tell you these are the ABCs of reaching, XYZ universities. So having that source of information just opens up your mind to that possibility. But in addition to that, what helped me a lot was that I just cast a very wide net. I reached out to people on LinkedIn who were already going to the universities that I wanted to, and I started speaking to them. And I think I may be jumping forward to a few questions, but it has a similar theme. What I also did was that I watched a lot of YouTube videos, something that we all do. A lot of people tell you exactly what you have to do to reach universities, and they have already reached there. So it is daunting only if you don't know what is expected out of you and how do you get there. If you know the steps, it's extremely clear, and it's in a way it just is just following one after the other step. But you really got to start early, because everything that you do or the way you use your time right now all adds to it. They look at you as a whole person. I was on Harvard's website yesterday because I wanted to get more answers for all of you based on the questions you asked. And one thing they have mentioned is we do a whole person analysis. We're not looking only at your score. So that maybe I will give more information on that later. What are the requirements for ICSE students? There isn't, I wouldn't say specifically ICSE students, but then your best bet is literally the website of every university. I got all my information off of that. And when you frame your questions to ask anyone who's already there or anyone associated, be extremely, clear with that question when you've already done your research. And I'm only sharing this from my experience, because when I asked people questions and they were not direct because I was new to it, they just pointed me to websites, because they're like, there's a lot out there. Have you already looked at that? And then if you want to ask any specific questions, they're more than happy to answer those. And that's also a way of building, being more self-reliant and building that for yourself as you go forward, which would really help in the university from my experience.
So thanks, Keshini. I think that was valuable information, just to look up websites, to use YouTube. I'm going to ask you just a follow-up question. How much time did you spend on looking up websites or spending on research about what universities to apply to and things like that?
Thanks. So I think how I did it was, once I was clear with what I wanted to actually pursue, what we do is we probably go onto the internet and start seeing top universities that offer this course. So that was me too. I did that first. But beyond that, I actually went on to speak to a few people who were 10 years into the field. So in the field of public health, some people who are already working in WHO or UNICEF or other places. And then they said that when you are looking for a university, look for ABC. Look for the fact that they have an internship period, that the professors are a part of the field and not just teaching, because then they can introduce you to the field, etc. So, sorry to digress, but come back to your point. All of this will take you a good amount of time, but what I say is you don't allocate 4 months to, I will only do research. You literally do it every single day. So I did that for at least, I think, a good 7 to 8 months into going into applying, and then I applied to universities. That's, you apply around December of a year if you want to go into being accepted into the next academic year, fall period, which would start around August or September.
Thanks, Keshini. The next question to you is, what are the requirements for admission into Harvard? Is ACT and SAT optional or compulsory? When should 11th graders start prepping for SATs?
Thank you. So this was the reason I went to the website. Your best bet is college.harvard.edu, for Harvard at least. They had clearly mentioned that there was an announcement that SAT and ACT scores are not mandatory to be submitted anymore. So anyone who takes those up can choose to submit them if they want it to be considered during the admission process. And if you don't take them up, you are not disadvantaged, is what they had mentioned. Other things that this is for batches of class of 2020, 2027, 28, 29, 20, and 30. And a few things they mentioned was, one was the whole person analysis, and what does that mean? They want to look at ways in which you're involved in community work, not just volunteering, but how are you a part of developing the community that you are in. It can be your cultural community, your ethnic groups. You know, how are you concerned about their well-being? They want to see that you are forward-looking as well in everything that you do. They want to see how you've gone over and beyond just academics. Definitely Bethany helps with that a lot, to build up those extracurricular activities and skills associated with it. And something that I would add on is to do certificate courses. So again, Udemy, Coursera, you have so many out there, and you have certificate courses from, like for instance, if I talk about public health, Johns Hopkins, Harvard, Cambridge, you have these universities offering you courses at very subsidized rates. So being proactive to take these up, learning from them, just adds on to that whole toolkit that you're building and what you can showcase as the interest that you actually have in the field, things that you've done to go beyond. And apart from that, when it comes, I think the next thing is when your 11th grade starts. So SAT, ACT, of course, that's right now not a requirement. Otherwise, for other things that I mentioned, start right away.
Thanks, Keshini. Next question. Is there a way to get over anxiety about studying? Like feeling I should do more all the time and not enjoying whatever I'm doing other than studying?
Thank you. Yeah, that's something we all battle with. Like, I wouldn't say that's something that completely goes away. It's a work in progress. What I have seen is anxiety comes out of inconsistencies. I mentioned this sometime back. I realized the day when I was trying to, get work done, and I had, you go to universities, there's going to be a party every single day for something or the other. They'll find the reason if there isn't one. How do you pick what you do? You choose your battles. Every day I reminded myself, I got to choose my battles. Where do I put the next 2 hours? And trust me, when you're going to go, there's not going to be like, I'm just going to go for an hour. That doesn't happen. So where am I going to put my time? You have to be very mindful of that. And as I spoke about blocking time on a calendar or having a task sheet, because I had like a task sheet that I would make for myself. One is it would help me feel that I've put everything down on paper or on maybe whatever app that you have. But the fact that you've taken note of everything that you need to do. And in addition to that, when I got stuff ticked off, the anxiety would just reduce. And you know that you have time for other things after that. That's literally as simple as it is. But it's hard because it's about consistency.
How do you deal with pressure?
So the pressure that I felt in the last year while I graduated in May. So the pressure that I felt last year in my life, I've never felt before. one thing I can tell you is that you can never prepare yourself for it and be 100% sure that you're ready to go into something just by asking people, how it was. Because I spoke to at least 20, 30 people who went to Harvard before I went there. And I thought, I'm all ready for this. But that doesn't happen. You find a way to, I wouldn't say only cope, but thrive, that is your own way. Everybody will have their own. For me, I realize, and I'm not one who actually does this in India, I don't really cook a lot. But cooking really helped me. One is, I was in Boston. The food there is okay. And we were not really offered meals. So you would cook your own food. First is to stay healthy, stay fit. You miss sambar rice, you make it yourself. You feel like a little piece of home is with you, but it's a huge stress reliever. And that's how I made a lot of friends, because if you're staying in shared spaces, you cook together, you build a community. That helped me. I took to working out because whichever university you go to probably would have, a program as a gym or any other activity that you could take up. I pushed myself to go even though I felt like I have 100 things to do. I knew I had to do that. That was one way to reduce pressure. One thing that was very close to my heart that really helped me personally is finding a church. I found a church there, which took some time because you're in a new place, but I found a church there that felt like home. Again, not easy, but I prayed about it. And the church also had many ministries where the women of the church would meet, or there would be a Bible study, or they would just have a cookout. Not things that would require a lot of your time, but that would make you feel like you belong somewhere. And of course, if you're in the midst of people who believe in God the way you do, you just feel at home any which ways. So that really helped me reduce my pressure, deal with it, and even though I was away from here, I didn't feel alone.
Wow, thanks Keshini for sharing that with us. Next question. What motivated you to keep on growing? How did you feel moving into a bigger field and dealing with more people?
Thank you. What motivated me to keep on moving was what I answered earlier. When I was doing the last thing I did before going into a public health program was work for a company where I was doing really well. I was managing 3 e-commerce platforms for AirAsia Malaysia, and they were thriving, and so I was sort of thriving based on the definition that we're not thriving. But at the same time, I was also working with Rotary International, and that's when the pandemic hit, and we actually saw places where the foundation of our public health system was a little shaken. Not only India, worldwide. And we all just wanted to help in any way we could. We all were a part, but it's happened to all of us at the same time. I then realized that the joy that it brought me to do that over my 9-to-5 job was beyond, what I could imagine. So I also felt that I have to find a way maybe to combine both of them, because yes, you need to earn a living, and there's a question that's asked about this as well. So you need to earn a living, definitely, but how can you do that still continue to help people if that's your calling, if that's what you enjoy doing? So that's what motivated me to keep going, to go back to school, which wasn't easy after working for a while. And the next part of the question, it says, how do you feel moving to a bigger field and dealing with more people? To be honest, people are innately the same everywhere. No matter where you go, what field, which country you go to, people want to connect, people want to feel like they belong. They also want to build a relationship with you if they feel that, and in my space, people want to create a difference in other people's lives. So where they feel that there is a synergy to create bigger impact. And that's how I met amazing people. So it was a thought that I never even had before I explored this space. That I could be probably sitting next to, when I spoke about this on Friday, sitting next to people from the government of India, people from the government of other countries. It was surreal, and so I guess it was a blessing, and only came from going beyond and exploring different possibilities.
Thanks, Keshini. Next question for you is, how expensive is it to study abroad? Are scholarships available only on merit?
Thank you. It's an expensive affair, definitely. As you see, you have all these, the costing that the university puts out for you is split based on the course you take, the number of years that the course is for, and for international students it's more than for domestic students. But if I talk about scholarships, yes, there are multiple scholarships available. Some of them are offered by different entities in India and abroad. I can give you a few names, but there's a lot more on the internet, like Aga Khan is one, Fulbright scholarships are one. They pick only a few out of India. A lot of them want you to come back to the country and provide your services of whatever you've learned. So you've got to look at where you want to go next. Do you want to settle in the US or whichever country you're looking at, and you can choose a scholarship accordingly. What every application that I filled out showed me was they wanted to see what your thought process was. They wanted to see why would you even want to be in the place that you want to go to. Are you forward-looking enough? Have you thought through your steps? And how are you using that for good? For me, every answer I had to give on an application was in that line. Harvard had its own scholarship program as well. And that was based on merit, plus also the need that they see in terms of financial support required by a student.
Thanks, Keshini. That was really valuable information. Next question to you. How does one make money in the field of public health and social work? What motivated you to pursue this after a background in dentistry?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to start off by saying money is there in every field. Whatever field you take up, and I have literally seen that, and the gig economy just says it even louder than ever before. So when it comes to making money in the field of public health, we have so many avenues to do that. If you're a person interested in data and trying to see trends, you have stuff like epidemiology and biostatistics, where you're seeing that, and these were the people that everybody was looking to during the pandemic. So just giving you an example, because they came in the news a lot. What's the trend? When do you see the next wave, etc. That's one way of making money. There are other ways where you actually work with community health departments of a state, of a city, of a town. You also can be a part of different NGOs. There is money in that as well. But it depends on what role does money play in your life, how much does that matter to you, what kind of salaries you're looking for. It can really vary. If you want to go to multinational companies, they also take public health practitioners in the field of public policy. And even if they want to use their corporate social responsibility budget, a certain amount of money that they keep aside that they have to put back in the community, well, they can take help from public health practitioners. So there are 100 ways to make money in the field, or any field that you choose, but you've got to double down on your skills. What motivated you to pursue this after dentistry? I think I did mention that a little bit, but the key of it was looking at prevention and not only looking at how you treat something. A very good analogy that was shared during my time in the School of Public Health was that there was this person who was standing on the shore of the bottom of a waterfall, and he had to jump back in again and again into the water body because people were drowning. They were falling off the waterfall. So he would jump back in and save people, but he's going out of breath, and he wanted to go and see who is that person pushing them from the top of the waterfall. Right? That is literally what public health does. Who is the person, or what is the environment created for someone to fall sick in the first place, that all the doctors have to treat them and dentists have to treat them, and that increases the amount of burden on the healthcare system and the finances, and of course the health of the person. And that's what interested me to go into the field.
Thanks, Keshini. And I think these were kind of the questions that we summed up from what the students sent to us. But I want us to make use of this opportunity that we have having Keshini here with us. So Auntie ma'am, if it's okay, I'm going to take 5 minutes to just ask the students if they have any questions for her. Use this opportunity and go ahead and put your hand up, and one of us will bring a mic to you. and you can ask Keshini any questions that you have.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, so you mentioned other than dentistry, you pursued a course in MBA as well.
Yeah.
And you were also a market researcher.
Yes.
So after 12th, I want to pursue digital marketing in Singapore. So what are the courses which are mandatory to take?
Thank you. So when it comes to mandatory courses, now that's something you have to look at in terms of what the university provides. But things that I can tell you, if you want to be a digital marketer, your best bet is Google certificates that Google provides you right now, and any other thing that you see on Udemy. For instance, I remember there's a course on Udemy on full stack marketer. That means you're able to become an all-round marketer. You're able to do everything that someone who is amplifying the voice of a company should be able to, and that comes down the line in a few years. But to start off with, if you have certifications that you've done beyond your course, also in Singapore or wherever, that's going to help you. That helped me during my MBA when I had to get placed. I had done courses and I did internships with people because of those courses, and that added value to my resume as opposed to maybe, let's say, people who were applying with me. So two things is starting to build that skill. Like digital marketing, the main thing about it is content writing. You can begin writing even right now. If you start a blog of your own, for instance, or if you just use platforms like LinkedIn, and I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but everybody get on LinkedIn and start building your own personal brand. Be your own personal marketer. Because when universities look at you, they're going to look at your digital presence as well. So you've got to start building that. So writing a blog, that's going to help you. Later when you go into taking courses, they are just going to be complementing things that you've already picked up from these certificates, which you can start right away and you will be able to understand. In digital marketing, you have 8 to 9 avenues, so you got to see what you enjoy. I did a lot of market research, I did social media marketing and website marketing. I enjoyed design a lot, and Bethany helped with that because I took up art when I was here. So I love web designing. That's a really good part of digital marketing as well, because how are you speaking to people when they come onto your platform? You can take up those skills too. So start, small with things that you really enjoy, pick up on those and double down on that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Can you quickly
See at the back.
Thank you, ma'am, for your lovely words.
Thank you.
I have a question. I think a major problem that the youth face today is that we have a lot of things we're passionate about. We have a lot of skills, but we don't know what to do with them. We don't know how we can develop that into opportunities that we're actually passionate about. So how do you suggest we do that, ma'am?
Thank you. So one way that I spoke about when I was speaking to Robert sir and we discussed this was that the school also is connected with a specific provider who does a psychometric test for you. And that is like your, that could be your first step if you like, where they're able to ask you questions and understand where your interests actually lie and give you 3-4 options put into buckets that maybe you want to explore these. That's one way. Another way is every skill that you have can be marketed and, like I said, made money off of for yourself, of course, in a good way. So actually analyze out of those 5, which are the 2 you really like. See if there's a way to combine them. I can give you my example just because I did that a while back. Was because I love marketing and I also love communications and I also love, this helping people out. So I was like, what do I do? So I said, I'm going to go into health communication, health marketing, create awareness, but do that using digital platforms because I enjoy that. Maybe use design. I know someone who doodles and they love drawing, so they make these cartoon, books for children to normalize dental care for them because she's a dentist, but she loves to draw and she loves to make cartoons. So there's always a way to combine your whatever you enjoy doing. Definitely.
Thanks, Keshini. We're running out of time, and the rest of you that have questions, I'll encourage you to write it down, and I'll find a way to get it from Angie ma'am and have Keshini answer them in her time. Okay, so I know all of you have a lot of questions. Just write them down. We'll just take one last question before we close this.
So ma'am, my question for you is, so seeing as the healthcare and the pharmaceutical industry is one of the biggest in the world, so you're the kind of person who doesn't push people off the waterfall and try to see what is the cause in the first place.
That's what public health does, yes.
Yeah. So so you probably face a lot of challenges by doctors in the whole industry. So like trying to, because if you solve the problem, then they're not making any money out of it. So how do you push through those challenges and how do you face those challenges?
Good question. Thank you for that question. First of all, even if I go and stand at the top of the waterfall, I can't save everyone right now. The healthcare industry is here to stay for sure, right? It's not going to vanish. But to give you a very interesting piece of information, actually 90% of the people who were doing the program with me were trained doctors because they saw the problem. They have been a part of the system, I agree, but they saw that it was a broken system, right? They saw they were missing pieces to it. So they finished their whole medical degree, their dental degree. Dental were a few, but medical were more. I think they could see more discrepancies. They all came on to do a public health program. They said that we want to become public health doctors. They combined the two. They said that when patients come to us, for instance, I remember one person from Ghana. She said, there are more and more patients coming to me with cancer problems. That wasn't the case. Cancer was not an issue in the place I stayed, but it's increasing. I want to see what's going wrong. There are a lot of doctors who practice with a conscience, and they want to see what's up and they are able to see that there was a facade created of this amazing healthcare industry and pharma industry, and they want to go beyond that. Of course, it's something to debate upon, and we could go on and on. But in short, people are seeing where there are loopholes and discrepancies, and they are trying to be a part of the solution and not the problem.